The opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Cable 14, its sponsors, or its shareholders, Cogeco Cable, Shaw Cable, and Source Cable Limited.
I commend Laura Babcock and Loren Laura and Cable 14 for actually gaining my interest on this. Drove home, watched it, and she revealed, Laura Babcock, that the mayor's office actually revealed it to them. I was beside myself. And to actually listen to the old show last night, listen to the old show, that this was something that was premeditated infuriates me even more. And I'll tell you, if anybody uses privacy laws to try to protect, whether it's unintentional or intentional, deceiving of the public, I say to hell with you.
And welcome to the December 20th edition of For the Record. And today on For the Record, it's the O Show with Loren Laura and Laura Babcock. And on our agenda today is setting the record straight on what has been called Peggygate. And we're going to ask the question, how toxic is the groundwater up at the airport? And hopefully even answer part of that question as well. And as you can see from the introduction, we've got lots to talk about, so let's meet our panel. We have, of course, Loren Laura. Welcome to the show, Loren.
Thank you.
And we have Laura Babcock, and I should point out that we are wearing tuxedos and our finest dresses because this is the end of the year program, of course.
I thought it was prom.
Indeed, and maybe we'll go dancing.
That would make me your date, I don't think.
Well, listen, we've got lots to cover, so let's get at it. And let's start with you, Laura, because this show was, and you actually provided some information that led to what is now being called Peggygate. Do you want to set the record straight in terms of the timeline?
I would be happy to, but let's take a quick look at what happened at Council Wednesday night. We've got a clip there we ran off the top of the show, and I just want our viewers to see it one more time because it's germane to the discussion that I want to start in a second here, Larry. So let's have another look at this. Is Councillor Sam Marula at Council. This was the first Council meeting since this story, this Peggygate story broke, if you will.
I commend Laura Babcock and Loren Laura and Cable 14 for actually gaining my interest on this. Drove home, watched it, and she revealed, Laura Babcock, that the mayor's office actually revealed it to them. I was beside myself. And to actually listen to the old show last night, listen to the old show, that this was something that was premeditated infuriates me even more. And I'll tell you, if anybody uses privacy laws to try to protect, whether it's unintentional or intentional, deceiving of the public, I say to hell with you.
Well, those are pretty strong words, Laura. Do you want to pick it up from there?
Yeah, and I should actually clarify, that wasn't the first time Council met since we broke the story Tuesday 2 weeks ago, but that was the Council meeting that addressed it when the public uproar had been building. And what you can see from Councillor Marula's quote there is you can see, first of all, that he felt very clearly watching our O Show 2 weeks ago that what I said, he got it very clearly, that the mayor's office, in fact, were the ones who told me, producer of the O Show, about her salary increase. And then, of course, he watched the subsequent show, O Show last Tuesday, where we had sourced that archive clip where the mayor talked back in February about having gone to HR to find out salary ranges for the chief of staff. So I'm going to deconstruct this on both those fronts. And I'm sorry, Loren, you're going to have to bear with me for a minute here, but you can read the stuff on the screen this week if you feel like it, if you want to get in on this. So the first thing is about how the story came out. You know, Larry, I saw that clip from Sam the other night, and I thought, okay, Sam got it clearly, but there was an actual quote from the mayor that ran in last Wednesday, so I guess December 10th Spectator, where the mayor was discussing how the information came out. And when I read the quote, I shook my head. I couldn't understand it. I want to put it up on the screen now for our viewers so they can see what I read in the Spectator. It's a quote from the mayor, I guess Wednesday, December 14th, saying, "I was surprised that the matter had begun circulating to the media, so it was obviously leaked by somebody."
And this, by the way, is the day after the O Show, right? Just to be precise about that.
Right. Okay. So this is what I just don't get, where the surprise came from. The mayor's office called me. You were all in studio. We got the call a minute before we went to air 2 weeks ago on the Tuesday night. The mayor's office said to me, Bob and Peggy, very clearly that they wanted to be transparent. They wanted to get the information about this pay increase out there, that they'd chosen the O Show for the exclusive. This is not a deep throat thing or an off-the-record conversation. This is not something where I need to respect the source's confidentiality. They wanted this information to become public. They wanted to be transparent. So they told me, the mayor in his own words, Peggy in her own words, you know, exactly what I said on the air. I said, you know, it has been told to me, these are my words, that, you know, that the HR was the impetus for this and blah, blah, blah. And I said exactly what they told me. They then repeated those comments to a spec reporter, repeated them to the Spectator editorial board. And then, as you know, HR came forward possibly with some prodding from council and said that's not how things played out, and the story erupted. So what I don't understand is that comment, that quote in the Spectator, where the mayor said he was surprised it was leaked to the media. Now, possibly he doesn't think that I'm media here on this TV show. I'm not sure why he wouldn't, but let's suppose that he doesn't think that. That can be the only way I can understand this quote that he made to the Spectator, because there was no surprise. I spoke to him on the phone. They called me. I didn't call them on this. So they were trying to get the information out. They told me they wanted to be transparent. I took their call, as I would anybody else wanting to give me information from the direct source of it on something as important as this. We went to air with it. Obviously, Councillor Marula, when he saw the show, he understood that. But then today, as I'm looking at the newspaper, there's an op-ed piece that's written where the person who wrote the op-ed piece is struggling with understanding if the mayor's office knew that this story was going to come out. So, you know, once again, today, a week later, it comes up that somebody still, now she doesn't work on staff, I don't think, for the Spectator, but a large op-ed piece on Peggy's job performance is asking the question about, did the mayor's office not understand that this would come out, and should have they had a media strategy? Let's take a look at that particular bit of text from today's Hamilton Spectator. Loren, do you want to read this one?
Go ahead.
Thank you. I just want people to know you're still here.
You got it.
Okay. And when the raise came to light, the mayor's response was the basest attempt to deflect responsibility. This is her opinion, of course. Is that the plan they agreed on when they considered the release of this information? They did realize this information was going to come out, didn't they? Or did they think that they were going to hide it? What was the plan to deal with the possible fallout? So, again, let me put it on the record very clearly, which we thought we had already done, but I'll do it again. Of course they knew it was going to come out. They picked up the phone and called me.
How about if you're going to write about this in the Hamilton Spectator, at least read the previous spec articles that make it really, really clear how this came to light?
Oh, yeah, well,
wow.
I mean, there was mention about they leaked it to a cable show, right? That's come up, I think, in two editorials in spec. So no one in the spec has ever said the O Show. Councillor Marula certainly said us on the air, and it's not about us. It's about the truth in this story. The comments that they were surprised that this got leaked to the media are not credible, and the questions still being asked today are frustrating because we thought we'd made it perfectly clear. So Larry, I wanted to clear that up once and for all, that they gave us an exclusive because they wanted to share this information, which maybe they wouldn't have even had to share directly to the media, but they wanted to, and they selected us because we've got a pretty good audience, and I think they felt that we would deal with it fairly, which we've been trying to do for these last 2 weeks.
Indeed. And just in terms of, excuse me, the Spectator acknowledging the O Show, I did take exception to the fact that they called us a cable show and tweeted about that, and Jim Polling, to his credit, publicly tweeted back that they should have mentioned our name, so congratulations to you.
If we can continue the theme here about Peggygate vis-a-vis the Spectator, there's something really, really ominous and terrible and low-class and amateur going on at the Spectator under their user comments section. And I'm sure a lot of it just will continue to pile up. But if you want to click on any Peggygate story, the stuff that the Spectator is allowing to float all throughout the internet, which is like a letter to the editor in this 21st century on the internet, it's unbelievable. And stuff, this is a family television show that we couldn't even make allusion to here. Yet it remains day after day without editing. And it's not right. Whether you want her fired, whether you think she should retract it, the crap that is on the spec.com website is way beyond the pale.
I haven't looked at it, but except for the first day I looked at the stream, and it was pretty negative back then. I can only imagine what's piled up since then. And this is the whole thing, Larry, is it's not about the O Show, although we're happy that people are getting a real source of information from us. It's the fact that the mayor's office called us, said, we want to give you this information because we want it out there, and our program discussed it fairly. We repeated what they had told us, so it was accurate. The story had then changed and the scandal blew up and things have gone on and on. But for our part, I want to be crystal clear. And, you know, if the mayor would like to redress those comments that he made about being surprised that it got leaked, by all means, I'd welcome that, since I spoke with him on the phone and he effectively was.
Sometimes I surprise myself. Maybe Bob's the same way.
Or maybe he didn't think I was media when he's talking to me on the phone. I'm not going to make excuses or try to defend it. All I'm doing is highlighting the fact that there is a discrepancy here that our viewers deserve to know about.
Well, and in fact, Laura, you also last week alluded to this already, that we found some archived footage back from February of 2011 where the mayor alludes to the salary and talks about the fact that they had made a conscious decision to keep the salary low based on their investigation of it as well. So, you know, we do have a copy of that tape, Laura. Did you want to see it again?
Say on this, you know, the Spectator, one of the reporters, I believe it was Emma Riley, when she saw the tape, she was very nice in tweeting out several times that we broke the information, we sourced the data, she thought that was exemplary. And that was really nice for her to do that. We're not in competition with the Spectator in any regard here, but it's nice when we're all working together on holding public officials accountable. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So they did get some acknowledgement around how that came up, but that wasn't me. That was one of our crack producers here at Cable 14. Had a good ear for a speech Cable 14 recorded. Now, I want to play this one more time because there's since been a statement that's also been looked back at that throws this timeline even into a little bit more of a frustrating conundrum. Let's have a look at that archive video one more time.
My own chief of staff, who is here, who's done such a wonderful job. When we were looking over the salaries over the past several years of people in that position, she decided on her own that she would take $20,000 less on an annual basis than what had been paid.
So that, as you know, we broke with that last week, and Councillor Marula mentioned it at council, that there was some premeditation to all of this because they knew back in February. But this is something that one of our producers here went back and looked at the Spectator editorial board live stream and found this comment, and we're going to put that on the screen because, again, it just confounds us a little bit more. Did you want to read this one, Loren?
Well, that we didn't realize that the real compensation for a chief of staff is not at the $90,000. It's at the level HR told us. Well, I think we're really getting into a serious mix here of who said what when. And I think it's everybody who's been following this at all is prepared to accept that Bob has not been forthright in all the information. But the yelling and screaming on the street is certainly more about that outrageous raise to Peggy. And those have nothing to do with each other. Those are very separate things to be yipping about. It went to council. There's nothing they can do about it. So I'm not really sure what the end game is anymore. We can't.
Well, the Integrity Commissioner, right?
Oh, please. What, finally he's going to do something?
Well, and you know what, here's the thing. We've talked on this show for years about does the Integrity Commissioner even have any teeth? And there was a movement when council came back out of that closed-door meeting and they said, you know, there was a Dreschel article that kind of gave a glimpse behind the scenes where I believe the chair of the meeting, Pasuda, said we needed a bar of soap to wash people's mouths. Pasuda, being a real gentleman, found the language and the vitriol in that meeting difficult to take. And according to Dreschel, I'll give credit because I certainly wasn't there. Apparently, the mayor was going to walk out 3 times, and it didn't sound good. But council came out and said they were frustrated, they were embarrassed, but there's really nothing more that they can do. So there was immediately in social media a push to get somebody to file an integrity complaint. And now one has come to the Integrity Commissioner. I don't know if it'll be the only one that comes out. I don't know if a bunch of them makes any kind of a difference. But this complaint that was just, the Spectator carried the story yesterday, this complaint is about the treatment of the HR staff, I think is the primary angle. Is that how you read it as well, Loren?
No, for sure, for sure. But things have gone in front of the Integrity Commissioner before, and it hasn't amounted to much. That council has weighed in on this. They all yelled at each other. We've got 3 more years of governing to do. It's enough. There's nowhere else this story can go. Are we going to keep hammering away at Bob until he decides to quit? Like, what's the end game here? I don't understand.
Right. Well, it's funny. Some people are calling for that. But listen, the way that you address the performance of an elected official is at the ballot box. And we plead with our audience every single election to take it seriously.
3 years away, nobody
I know,
be
but
not a chance that this will make
my
a dent.
point is that for people calling for the mayor to resign or step down or be impeached or whatever, that's not how it works. You get what you elect.
Yep.
And what I'm picking up from you, Loren, and what I hope will go forward here is that council will find a way to work with this. You said in the holiday special, I'll just put a little teaser out, we typed a holiday special last night with the Opinionators panel that Larry Deanne did a great job of hosting, by the way, Larry. And one of the things that you predicted for the new year, Loren, was that there's going to be almost like a shadow mayor, somebody else, if council doesn't keep getting along, that's going to take up the mantle of leadership. That doesn't bode well for another 3 years.
Well, listen, let me, this story, as they say in the news cycle, has legs, and we're going to have to come back to it. We will come back to it in the new year as well. But I want to give some justice. We've got about 5 minutes, Loren, and the floor is yours. The toxic PFAS stuff that's up at the airport, what do you know about that? What can you tell us?
I'm not a scientist by any means. I'm not an environmentalist, but my ears come across all kinds of things in this community. And I think it is pretty much common knowledge that before the airport exists as it does today, a lot of firefighter training existed up there. And the chemicals and the runoff from back then, we're not talking about modern technology, we're talking about back generations ago in terms of firefighting, and the septic system that existed there independently. And I'm hearing all kinds of things, that there is a soup of scariness underneath the ground there. And we have, as a municipality, become aware of some things. And the question is whether or not that's good enough, or are we actually going to delve into this? And there's no way there can be any confusion as to whose problem this is, whether it's federal, whether it's provincial. When a piece of land transfers ownership, surely to God, if you own a house and you've got toxins in it, you got to sign a paper that says you're aware, you're not aware. So there's no way the feds, the province, and the city can be looking at each other, pointing fingers, not knowing. I don't have access to the deed. I don't know what terms there were in terms of the transfer. But if there's going to be real problems there, everybody should go back to their lawyers and their real estate transactions, because there shouldn't really be a whole lot of question as to who's responsible.
Laura, do you have any comments on this?
Only that we've heard from concerned citizens over the last week, and we'll be showing a tweet of the week on this coming up, I think, after the break. We've heard from citizens saying, you know, why isn't anybody talking about the contamination of the original site? Why aren't people looking? And somebody actually showed me at a Christmas party at Loren's house, took out their iPad and demonstrated to me, you know, how the tributaries work in that land, and trying to explain that there's toxic seepage from this original site. They've gone to council. You'll see it's Chris Eklund. You'll see his name come up here. He's very concerned about it. And, you know, and councillor, he was tweeting out there publicly that councillors were getting back to him and they weren't aware of what was really going on with the original site. So I'm not an environmentalist. We do have great environmentalists in this community. We've got city council now, and the government, as Loren just laid out, talking about who pays for cleanup of what here. I think there's more to this story, and I certainly hope that people will find the information, even provide it to us, and we'll relay the information if it's accurate. We want to make sure that we get to the bottom of this. This has come up several times.
I think it's a little offside to be talking about who gets the bill before you know what the bill is.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, and you know, just to do a shameless plug, MP David Sweet is going to be on Hamilton Talks this Thursday at 10 p.m. on this channel, and this is one of the questions that I'm going to ask him.
Great.
Good.
Listen, panel, we're going to take a bit of a break now and come back right after this break with my oration and more on the O Show. So viewers, please stay tuned.
Laura Babcock's Hair by Madison Avenue Salon and Spa, 169 Locke Street South. Call 905-527-4080. Laura Babcock's Wardrobe by Pennington's in the Gage Square Plaza, 601 Upper Gage. Call 905-388-2091.
Welcome back to the O Show on For the Record. I am Larry Deanne, and we are with Loren and Laura. And panel, right now it's time for my oration, and given that this is the end of the year program, I thought rather than focusing on the last 12 months, I was going to focus on next year, So here are some predictions for 2012. And of course, as you know, our show comments on political issues of a local, provincial, national, and sometimes international range. So here are some predictions for the coming year. Number one, locally, the war at City Hall will intensify, and there will be casualties, unfortunately. Number two, no provincial election in 2012. All bets are off for 2013. Number three, federally, Prime Minister Harper will sail on, but his support will be lessened from within caucus. Western alienation, anyone? Number four, Mr. Mitt Romney will be the GOP nominee in the presidential election. Mitt Romney, however, will lose to Barack Obama and Vice President Hillary Clinton. You heard it here first. Number five, Vladimir Putin will be the new president of Russia. No surprise there. Number six, the Tiger Cats will win the Grey Cup in 2012. And number seven, the Maple Leafs will not win the Stanley Cup in 2012. And number eight, there's a new Pan Am sporting event in 2015. It's called Where Will the Velodrome Go? Number nine, the Festival of Friends. This one's for you, Loren.
Thank you.
Will feature Justin Bieber in 2012.
Wow.
And number 10, The Lair. We'll do, this one's for you, Laura.
Thank you.
The Lair will do a feature interview with new HECFI chair, Gabe Macaluso. Panel, are there any comments at your own? Start with you, Lauren.
I anticipate some traffic delays.
You will if you get Justin Bieber, for
please.
sure.
I do regret, I know at the end of those we're getting cheeky, but I really hope some of those are wrong in terms of intensification of the fighting at City Hall and otherwise. And really, Hillary for vice president?
Well, it's been talked about, actually, so I'm not breaking any news, and she'd make a dynamite vice president. And even Dick Cheney said just in an interview this past week, it's not personal, Joe Biden. If she's the best person, then she should be nominated by Barack.
I think a Hillary Barack ticket is the dream ticket everybody wanted last go round, so it would definitely up their chances. I watch a lot of U.S. politics. I love it. And, you know, Gingrich is going down in flames. Once people actually looked at him for 5 seconds as the front runner, it's hard for Gingrich to stay popular. Mitt Romney will win by default the nomination. Ron Paul surging now coming into the Iowa vote in January, which, of course, sets the tone for the rest of the caucuses. But, you know, Mitt is the default winner. Nobody's going to be happy about it. He's not going to be able to run against Barack Obama if it is Mitt. There's just not enough enthusiasm. Although who he chooses as his running mate could really shape the race. So we'll have to wait and see. As for the fighting in City Hall, you said that there'll be casualties, Larry. Who will they be, pray tell?
Oh gosh, look, I'm just saying that it doesn't look well, and the casualties may very well be the taxpayers of the city that are looking for some.
Don't weasel out of it.
Well, no, but
who
it's
are the
true.
casualties going to be? You didn't mean the taxpayer. Who do you think is going to get canned?
Well, you know, I'm not going to go that far. I'm just saying that if what we've been talking about on this program is accurate, and I believe it is, if what I've been hearing on the street and if what I've been hearing from some of the people at City Hall, that there is tremendous rancor there, unless somebody steps up to make peace and find a way out, and I think, Lauren, you asked the right question. I think there will be casualties, and there may be more than one.
Maybe they need to listen to the Art of War quote somebody reminded me of the other day. Encircle your enemies, but leave an exit place for them, or a way for them to exit. In other words, it's everyone's holding everybody to account, but there's got to be, I agree with you, a way out of this mess so that council can govern effectively. You mentioned the festival, and Lauren said he anticipates traffic delay. You mentioned the Lair. I'll tell you my prediction. In January, we're going to have Fred Eisenberger in the Lair cast. We're also going to have Martin Jellinis in the Lair cast. We're going to have Graham Crawford in the Lair cast, and a lot of other people. And if Gabe Macaluso does take over and has a rise back as the chair of HECFI, I'll talk to Gabe as well.
Yeah, I don't see that.
All right. Well, Lauren, did you want to break some news, at least in terms of, if not Justin Bieber, who?
Oh, it's too early, and I think we've learned from previous. This isn't the show to have any exclusives on. It just creates a whole lot of trouble.
But
keep on tweeting me those exclusives. We've had a number of them. I think 4 sent to us in the last 2 weeks, some of which we brought up in other topics. But we're here to give information to the community. So if you have it, let's talk about it.
Well, indeed.
And truly, Larry, if I may, the only thing I have for the community this week is wishing everybody a wonderful and safe holiday of whatever flavor you celebrate. and see you all in the new year.
Happy holiday of whatever flavor.
Well, let me say happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas to one and all. And just a couple of programming notes. We will return January the 3rd, so watch for that. And Laura mentioned that last night we did tape a whimsical program where we brought both opinionator families together, both the O Show and the Opinionators, and I think you'll enjoy that. It's going to be on Thursday night.
You thought
at
it was
5
whimsical?
PM.
I remember we fought.
Well, we did.
We
but
kicked their butts.
I think
We did.
Wednesday
We beat the
night
Opinionators,
stinks.
hands down.
All right.
Absolutely.
I think viewers will enjoy it nevertheless. And of course, I said Thursday night at 10 o'clock, David Sweet's going to be on Hamilton Talks. And this is a public service announcement for our friend Chris Eklund, who is illuminating the Tiffany Falls at 7 p.m. this coming Thursday as well. And of course, Gorilla Cheese will be there to serve their wonderful food. Thanks for watching. Have a great Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We'll see you in January.